Attention! All things shared in this video are simply the opinions of the Unexplained Files. The following footage is not tampered with, and all of the events and reactions are unplanned and genuine.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Unexplained Files, a home for the unexplained, the mildly deranged, and perhaps just a little bit strange. This is the greatest channel in the UK for this sort of thing, and this evening we have a reaction that's a little bit different to our usual, because normally we react to videos and big things that are up in the news, but today we have an article that says apparently the UK is running out of ghosts. And the reason this caught my eye is because we go to a lot of places, and you know, we have had some interesting moments like devices going off and some, even just when you're in the place, tension kicking off and like a feel to a place, which is harder to put across in a video. But we don't often get anything kicking off. And you think, you hear stories of people like over in the States, everyone's got a ghost story. Everyone knows some crazy stuff that's kicked off. A lot of paranormal content is based around the States. Granted, bigger place, a lot more people, so that makes a lot more sense. But I thought, given our lack of interaction and some of the things we've thought, this might be worth looking at.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. I haven't read through the whole.
No, I've seen the headline and maybe a brief summation, but I've not actually read into it.
Britain is facing a ghost shortage as aging spirits are passing over to the other side, according to a leading paranormal expert. What constitutes as a paranormal expert? Is there really any experts?
That's what I'm thinking. Isn't that it's Dr. Paul Lee? I wonder what his doctorate is in, if he has like a history or something of the sort.
I'm sure it says it somewhere in the article, and it's freaking nuclear physicist or something like that. It ain't that, but something.
I mean, it's a weird idea to say that the things are passing over to the other side, because it begs the question, what other side? What is this framework for the paranormal that you understand so well that you can say that they're disappearing and they're vanishing and things are aging and stuff?
And I always wonder what half of the paranormal sightings are, because I was thinking about it at work earlier, because a lot of them are just kind of like residual energy, you know. That's, you get them ones that repeat the same pattern over and over again. I kind of thought of it earlier. It was like as if you were sitting in an armchair and then you got out and someone else sat and it's still warm because you've left your heat in it. Maybe when someone passes, they can leave a certain energy in the area, and maybe that dissipates after a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of there being an other side that this says is kind of it's a weird thought, because it implies it's linear. You die and then your spirit lingers and then it passes on to something else, and that's it, like a line of progression. You live this life here, you die, you linger, and you go. But I know ancient people would have viewed it more like just another realm of existence that sometimes can come closer to us and fade, and closer to us and fade, more cyclical in nature.
And maybe that's what is happening.
Maybe. Could it be that the cycle's more distant? 10 years ago or 15 years ago, everyone was watching Most Haunted or things like that, or there was a big sort of resurgence in the paranormal and people had experiences or knew someone. I remember being at school and there was always someone who had a family get together and they took a picture and there was a face in the picture or something like that would always go on, and now it just doesn't exist. But then it also makes me wonder, people are less in touch with the world around them than they've ever been at any point in human history. Even people in their 70s and 80s are on phones and iPads and playing games and doing, not that that's always a bad thing, but we as a people, we have way less connection to spirits or people who've passed.
Losing that kind of mental awareness now. It's just drawn into TV and phones and stuff.
Could it be that your awareness gives things power? If you focus on something, that gives it an ability to manifest or ability to have somewhere to go to, or being thought of and remembered sort of invokes spirits, or in any kind of way. If you've got times where communities would remember lost loved ones, or try to connect with them, or give offerings to them and stuff like that, that would be like a time like in history, like Samhain and stuff like that would happen.
So they might be sulking because people are not acknowledging them anymore.
Yeah, genuinely. I wonder if that is the case. And that we see a lot of times in different like cultures, when you've got like different creatures like house elves or various things like that, which weren't necessarily physical, they could be types of spirits and stuff. If you didn't pay him attention or pay him mind, stuff would start going amok. Like socks would go missing, and windows would be smashed out of nowhere, and like the house just felt more hectic and not homely. And so in the past they would give offerings and leave things for him to say like, we're here and you're here and we respect you, and to build that bond, and the problems would go away and there was a more homely feeling. So I wonder if that is anything to do with a part of it. Are we just so disconnected from it that it's like, if you don't notice it, is it really there?
The paranormal researcher and author shared, since January 2020, I've been contacted all the reportedly haunted locations on my app and asking if the residents, owners or staff have experienced any unexplained activity. He continued, so far I have had almost 800 replies, and even some supposedly highly haunted places like Cornish Borough Castle in South Yorkshire, the Ettington Park Hotel in Stratford, said to be one of the most haunted hotels in the UK, and Fortnum,
Yeah.
and Mason in Piccadilly say they haven't experienced anything in the last few years.
I wonder if, because you've talked about this before, if a location is haunted, could it be a situation of right place, right time? And these are the sort of things where you don't always go out to a haunted location. You don't always have the opportunity to see it. If it was 15 years ago and you were a kid, like teenager with your mates, and you went to a place and like crazy stuff happened, you'd leave and you'd have memories of that place for the rest of your life.
Like the most haunted place in England, whatever, but how many places in England can claim that?
Well, yeah.
I've heard so many. And it's
Yeah,
like probably
absolutely.
hardly anything happens there. You probably
Yeah.
see the odd thing now and again.
If you have a person who hears a place is haunted and they experience it once, paranormal is proved to them for the rest of their life. They can go the next 60 years and be like, I believe in ghosts and paranormal because of this. Whereas if they go in there every week, the first time they're absolutely convinced the paranormal's real. Second time they go back, nothing really happens and they're a bit and an ahhing again. Third time they go back, it's not haunted anymore. Oh, it must not be real. Maybe I made it up.
Even I haven't really experienced any paranormal activity in years. Like I think when I was in America is when I experienced all of mine, and two of them were in the same house.
I mean, I have had experiences, but they were all when I was 14, 15. So yeah, about 10, 11 years
They've
ago.
moved on.
Yeah, they've given up. They've gone, fuck this for a laugh.
It says there, he suggested it could be that a spirit has a natural source of energy to begin with, which has dwindled away over time, leaving them without the reserves to manifest anymore.
I mean, that doesn't really make sense because people are dying all the time.
Oh yeah, so there'd be new ones you'd think popping
Yeah,
up.
well, it'd be a constant cycle.
It would be nice to find a legit haunted place and be able to spend like a week there, just going every night in and out to see if anything occurred. I'd be pretty pissed off if nothing did the whole time.
What I would love to do is have a big enough location where you could have two separate teams, and they keep separate for the most part, and they can investigate over 2 or 3 nights. One group goes in there and they can maybe do a more traditional, like opening the space, leaving an offering, kind of going in there with intention of saying, you know, we hope we're welcome here and we recognise you, and then have their investigation, see what they capture. And at the same time, maybe on the opposite part of the building, another team that just goes in there, gets on with business and doesn't care for it and doesn't necessarily believe in it. How would the experiences differ? Because it's the same locations, just how would it be affected? Because there's almost every culture, even to this day, has religious and spiritual practices of honouring people who've passed, remembering them, giving offerings in some capacity, and being conscious of having a relationship with those who have passed on. But the further that generations go on, the less that spirituality and religion is in life for people, that goes away. And so maybe that is the cause of why things are getting less and less.
That would be interesting though, to have 3 groups. So you'd have your believers, your people that are on the fence, and then your non-believers, and see who like go in the same place, maybe at different times, like an hour apart or a couple of hours, or like night after night, and see what they come up with. Because you can imagine like the believers, like they'll hear a bang and they'll be like, oh, there's something here.
Well, yeah.
You know, and the non-believers will be like, well, it's probably just the wind or...
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's hard to go to like a place for an investigation and try to... it's my instinct to try and disprove it. But then I also believe in the paranormal. Yeah. So it's a weird middle point to be in. And it is, I would say, borderline impossible to go in without bias, trying to just look for evidence. Honestly, everyone's going in and looking through their own frame of reference. So you go in there and you might hear a bang and you might say to yourself, okay, it's probably this, it's probably this. But in the back of your mind, you're still going, yeah, but was it though?
And we was at the Lenwood Centre, wasn't it? When we had that weird shuffle noise, but we never did get to see, like, figure out what that was.
Yeah.
But like, at least when we went the other time and we heard the dripping, we was like,
we figured it out.
Yeah,
we went in there.
First of all, we was freaking out, like, what the hell was that? And then we went and debunked what that was. So I think a lot of people might experience that, and then like, if they'd have just buggered off and been like, oh fuck that, I'm out of here, then they'd have been like, oh man, there was all kinds of stuff going on there.
Yeah. We're not trying to prove if anything is or isn't, we're just documenting the space and what happens in it. And that, for me, has been the best way to look at it. Otherwise, I get too caught up in trying to dig into the wrong things, and then the bias takes over. But I think we have a obsession with finding proof and trying to put a pin in the map and say, yep, paranormal, real, no matter what. We know it is for this reason or that reason. The problem is that for all of human history, the paranormal is something we've believed, not known. And the second you know something, you can't believe it anymore. There has to be an element of it comes from you. The second you know, you don't care anymore, because you're just like, well, that is what it is. Like, if you saw aliens in the sky, yeah, you'd be freaked out at first, but then after a while, you'd just be like, it just is what it is. It's normal now. You're adjusted to it. It doesn't matter to you, and it's irrelevant. You wouldn't even notice it if it was there. But it's the belief and the curiosity that makes people want to know. And we have gone into a point where the paranormal is something that people either want to profit off of, which, I mean, to be fair, I say now as if this is different from anything it would have been in the past. It's always been that way to some degree. But before, it was believed in and venerated, and now it's like under scrutiny and needs proof. And I just think, if my model for the paranormal does very much sit in a place of what you pay to it comes back, and I don't necessarily mean like, oh, make a deal with your soul, I mean more so what you notice of it and how you respect it is what will be reflected on you. The second you know something and don't believe in it anymore, that cuts that off. To me, I think that's probably where I feel this could be coming from.
Yes, it's a strange one. I'd be interested to know if any of you guys have had recent experiences or know people that have,
and if you've been in the world of the paranormal for a long time, investigating lots of places and interacting with people, have you noticed over the years that things have dwindled, or has it been as prevalent for you now as it's always been? That's what I want to know, because obviously I'm still new to this now, so I don't have a wealth of like investigations and knowledge over years to know. We've only been at this a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be interesting to get the opinions of people who've been at this for a lot longer.
We need to get to some proper supposed haunted places. I really want to get in like a proper haunted house or business or something.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Just spend like a few hours in there.
Well, we have got that supposedly haunted pub that we might, or inn that we might be able to go to towards the end of the year. We'll probably be staying there, so that'd be a good one for you in the future, guys. And the return of one of the locations we've been to. Have we been there once or twice on video? I think a couple of times. The pool and the prefab and the big ballroom bit. We've been once for sure. I mean, then we went back again and it was all trash, and we was like, we couldn't carry on with it because it felt like it was booby trapped. Something out of Home Alone.
Felt a bit dodgy.
Yeah, That place has a feel to it. Certain parts of it, not all of it does.
No.
That we will be looking forward to. We have a ballroom to investigate. We have a swimming pool where a child lost their life to investigate. We've done that before. We'll be going back to these places. Fingers crossed if we can get there, and depending on what happens when you get there. But, so we've got some good investigations coming up, guys, and I encourage you to hit that subscribe button to keep an eye on what we're doing, because it's the season of investigations and we're bringing them back big time. If there's any places that you guys want to see us investigate, now is the time to let us know, because it's the best time of year for investigating. And also, we are very quickly closing in on 500 subscribers. I think we're around 470 at the time of filming this. Don't look now, because it'll be up or down, and I feel like a right tit if we're back into the 460s. But we're working hard to bring that number up, and if you would help us achieve our goal of 1,000 subscribers, we would very much appreciate it. We hope to bring you some fantastic things in the future. Let us know what you thought about this. We were reacting to an article this time rather than a video, but we hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Let us know what you think about it, and we hope to catch you again in the next one. Goodbye!